Today, for the very first time, we're going to be listening to In Waves by Trivium. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another album review / reaction here on the channel. This is our second Trivium reaction. If you missed it, a couple of weeks ago, we did Shogun, and it was our first Trivium reaction here on the channel. You can go check that video out if you want to learn a little bit more about what we already know and our sort of previous experience with Trivium, but we don't need to get into all of that for this video because we've already done that, so go check that out if you want to learn a little bit more about that. But Chris and I both felt kind of interestingly about that album. I feel like we had sort of mixed feelings about it overall. And people were actually kind of surprised when I told them on our Discord, which if you are new here, you should definitely go check out our Discord. Link for that is in the description. There are also links to a Ko-fi account if you want to donate to us, and links to several other things, including a brand new project that I have that was just released. That's a podcast and a full-length album that I just released, and some videos that accompany it all. Links for that stuff will be in the description of the video, but you can check all that out at your leisure if you want to. But when I was telling everybody in our Discord that we were going to do more Trivium, they were like, oh, that's kind of surprising because you both seemed kind of negative on the album. And
me and who?
You and I both seemed a little bit negative on Shogun. And I've been thinking about that a lot recently, and I've been going back through a lot of comments because I was trying to do a special project for my 1-year anniversary of my transplant that happened on April 4th last year. And nice. My idea was to record my doctor and some nurses and the local priest and everyone reading nasty comments that people have written about me on our YouTube channel. And I may still do that, but I might not. But in the process of doing that, I was going through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments on the videos that we have that have the most negative feedback on them. And a lot of most of the negative comments are basically people complaining that we're talking over the music so much. And that we get all the time. I'm used to that. But there were some that were doing it in a constructive way. And I've known this, but I don't know if I ever heard anyone put it this way exactly. But it kind of changed my perspective on it a little bit, in that people get frustrated when we talk over the music so much because they want us, me specifically, to like be able to sit and focus on the music and experience it the way they experienced it the first time, right? So it's like man, you guys, you're not experiencing the music. You're just talking about what it sounds like. And
well, hold on.
Right.
That's what we're here for. That's the whole point of this.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That is what our goal is here, to talk about what it sounds like, and then also to talk about whether we like it or not. And
I've
never
been one, like the type of person who's like, ooh, it's making feelings happen. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I get that sort of reactions more from like chord progressions, writing styles, like big time, like production choices.
Yes,
I don't know. So that's where my experience or feeling of it comes from. So I don't know. It's such a nebulous. Like, define the experience for me.
Yeah,
like, I'm not just experiencing the music
for sure, 100%. And so I only bring that up to say, I'm trying to alter my sort of like, I don't want to say perception. I'm trying to alter my state of mind when we're recording, or when we're reacting, basically. Like, I want to keep in mind that if I'm not talking about something that isn't pertaining to what we're exactly hearing, I want to not say stuff that I don't want to talk about superfluous stuff as much. And that's me. That's a me thing I'm working on. But anyway, okay, so sorry. Anyway, the reason I bring all of that up is because we were very negative on Shogun, and we didn't focus on really very many of the positives. And I think because for us, the thing that we were more obviously facing were the things that were negative to us. However, when we were listening to it, there was a lot of stuff I did like. I just really didn't point it out. And so I want to do a little bit better with that, because I would say overall I liked that album, but I think for people who watched the video, they didn't get that feeling. So I didn't accurately portray what I was feeling, I guess.
I feel like we do that a lot. And
Yes.
I've recognized it before too, and wondered like I've even brought up like we should do like it's been 3 months since this album review. How do we feel about it now? Just another way to touch back on something at least once for how often I feel like we like something more than the reaction makes it seem.
Yes. And I had a terrible experience recently when I was recording one of my 21 Pilots videos where I lost my reaction. And so I had to react to the album again the following day. And there were some people who commented like, hey, I actually think what happened may have been good because you were able to approach the album differently than you would if you were listening to it the first time. And I understand that and I get that. But to me, the exciting thing is, when we hear something that's so good, you just can't like contain it. That's what I'm looking for. That type of a reaction, And we don't get that with very much stuff because it has to be extraordinary to get that kind of a reaction from us. And so I don't like we're not going to change the channel and like only do albums we've heard before. That seems silly to me. And to me, that's more of a review and less of a reaction. But I like the idea of it being reactions and staying this way. However, I want to make sure that we don't lose sight of the positives while just talking about the negatives. So,
yeah, we could separate it and do reaction videos and review videos.
We could.
Or maybe
Absolutely.
that could be like a Patreon thing.
For sure. And I think if I had it my way, I would only show you guys albums that I love. You know what I mean? But that's not true either, because I really do love listening to music for the first time. But like I like when we do like the Gorillas and stuff, which we have scheduled for next week. Like I'm sitting in anticipation and I'm thinking about what I want to say and why is this song special and things like that. And I think people appreciate that type of a thing. But that's just, to me, not really what our content is. Like, I don't want to start doing like album essays, or like, because then to me, there's a lot more effort that has to go into those videos with pre-production and like making graphics and charts and things.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that, because I'm not very good at that stuff. But what I am good at is listening to the music and talking about what I'm hearing. And so anyway, sorry, we're getting way too deep on things, but for the people that did watch our Shogun reaction, when I was editing the reaction, I found myself sitting, and when I'm editing these videos, I can skip the parts where we're not talking because I don't really need to, unless I have to go in and edit out the swear words of a song or something, which there was a lot of on that Trivium album. But most of the time when I'm editing, I can skip through sections of songs and everything until when we're talking, and then I have to listen to us talking in case we reference something, or I have to put in a graphic, or we have a crazy reaction to like zoom in on a face or something, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so I do that. I go through and I watch the entire thing back. But with the Trivium one, I found myself sitting there listening to the songs, and I was like, man, these are way better than we were making them seem to be at the time. And so I want to keep that in mind while we're doing this. And so just something to everybody out there. Like, I know kind of I don't want to say we screwed up with it because that was our honest reactions, but I do think we focused a bit too much on the negative things because it was easier to talk about those and point those out rather than, but we also didn't just crap on the album either. Like, we were referencing all these other things, and
it's tough for me because I just it didn't really do much for me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I guess, but there wasn't like, nothing sounded bad.
No, it wasn't. Yes, I mean there wasn't a ton of high end, and we did talk about certain things, but no, it wasn't bad. And we just, we'll see. We'll see as we get into this. So okay, everybody. I read the wiki page for this album earlier, and there wasn't too much on there. There wasn't a ton on there about the production or anything like that. They have a new drummer. So this is their first album with their newer drummer. And that was pretty much really the only thing that I took away. The album was released and it got some really positive reviews, and people were saying that it's kind of even more of a return to what they were doing before they did that Metallica album than the Shogun album that we listened to last time, which was supposed to be a return to the more sort of metalcore style of stuff mixed with the thrash. And from what I was reading, this album, I think, is even less of the thrashy Metallica side of things and more what they were doing before. So more like metalcore, early 2000s stuff. So, and everyone pretty much overwhelmingly said that they thought that we would like this album the most. And if you remember, when we did Shogun, I was shocked at how old that album was, because I was thinking that it was much more of a modern album in their catalog than it is. And I think that might have been one of the reasons that I was so surprised while we were doing the reaction that it sounded the way that it did, and that it was the style that it was, because it was way older than I thought it was. And when they were saying you would like In Waves, in my head I was thinking, oh, that's like probably 2 or 3 albums after the one we just listened to. And so it'll have more modern production, there might be some extra things in it, and they'll be more mature as songwriters and everything, right? No, this is just the album after the album we just listened to. But I believe it came out 3 years later in 2011. Is that what it is? I was looking at... Yeah, 2011.
This one is... Yes.
2011.
Yep.
So, and the Shogun was 2008. So this is 3 years later. They took a pretty big gap, and I'm assuming that they were, touring a lot with that. But they took a big break. And, yeah. So let's just get into this and see. Have you thought about that album at all, Chris, since we did the reaction? I don't suppose you went and listened to any of it or anything.
Not really, no.
Okay. The album that you were referencing when we talked about Trivium in the first one was their like the White Album with Snow or something in the title, I think. That album, I believe, is 2 albums after this one.
Oh, okay.
Silence in the Snow.
Yep.
So that the album after this one is Vengeance Falls, and I want to ask everybody right now, on Spotify, they have the Vengeance Falls special edition from 2013, but then they also have the Vengeance Falls 2023 remaster. So I'm asking everybody, why did they feel the need to remaster an album that originally came out in 2013? That's very surprising to me. And so
Agree.
What is wrong with it? Because I did listen to like 10 seconds of a song from both, and I really couldn't tell much of a difference. So let us know in the comments what's going on with that one. And then after that album in 2015 is Silence in the Snow, which is the one you were referencing, Chris. And then they just most recently released an EP that just came out this year. Or no, sorry, at the end of 2025 called Struck Dead. And I was thinking we could do a reaction to that anytime if we wanted as well. It's 3 songs. They're all over 5 minutes, but the whole thing is only 18 minutes long. And people were saying that it's really, really good. So interesting. I don't know if we're going to get a new Trivium album this year, but I would get... Oh, wait. Yes. I would guess that we may, because it's been since 2021 that their last album is, and they released enough songs to release an EP. They recorded enough songs to release an EP. So I don't know if they have a new album coming out this year or not, or what's going on. But if they do, we will definitely do reaction to that new one. But as far as I know, there's nothing on the books for that. But you guys can let us know in the comments. So with all that being said, we are going to listen to the special edition of this album. It's got 18 tracks, and there's a few... There is no giant progressive song on here like there was. Shogun, the song, if you remember, was like 11 and a half minutes long. There's nothing like that on this album.
Okay.
And there are some shorter ones. There's like a 2.5, 2:30, but most of the songs are between 3:30 and 5. So it's going to be, I believe, a little bit more standard length. And yeah. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We're going to listen to the first track and the second track together, because I'm assuming Capsizing the Sea is just the intro to the album. And then In Waves seems to be the huge single from this album. It has 90 million plays, 94 million plays. And so we'll listen to just the first 2 tracks, and then we'll see what we think. Okay?
Cool.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. I don't know why, but I was expecting acoustic guitar right away. So the distorted piano threw me off, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are some overhead microphones.
High pass, too, probably.
Very far away, yeah. Okay, I'm liking this. This is interesting. The guitar is clean.
Yeah.
There is electric guitar in there, like that's distorted now, but And the like whenever I hear like drums like sticks like that on like a rim shot type thing, it always makes me think of like soundtrack stuff. It's very soundtracky to me.
Soundtrack.
Yeah. Very trailer music type of stuff. All right, we're going into In Waves.
Okay. Oh, that's a different sound.
Yeah.
Oh, it's completely different.
Yeah. Very dry guitars,
Very
which
flat.
I like. Yes. The cymbals have a little bit of that MP3 effect on them, the like low quality effect.
Artifacty.
Yes,
washout
artifacting.
kinda.
Yes. Okay. Whoa!
Hey now.
A lot of vocal layering.
Didn't we say last time that we struggled with his harsh vocal?
It sounded like it was hurting him to do it, and we got some comments saying, yes, he has become a much better vocalist since that album.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know if he was at this point yet, but I'm enjoying it more.
Yeah.
This is reminding me a lot of Still Remains, which was one of the first like sort of like bands like this that I got into really a lot. They only released 3 albums ever, but those background vocals remind me a lot of it. Almost all the vocals are mono too, like they're not spread wide.
Do they seem low?
I think some of them, maybe not the lead vocal. It feels like the song could be ending at this point, you know? Second guitar solo section. Yes, I like his screaming vocals a lot more.
Yeah, it sounds much less.
And I've got no James Hetfield.
No, I agree. Still going. Whoa.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I was looking at the
We
timer.
got 2
I was
minutes
like,
left in this thing.
I know. That's what I was like. What?
I don't know how I feel about his clean vocals.
Yeah.
I just am apparently unsatisfiable.
I'm definitely getting In Flames from a lot of this too. A lot. And they, on a lot of their earlier stuff, had the vocals way too low. And that's kind of... I'm getting that a little.
It does. It just feels a little low, or just like it doesn't stick out. It's on par.
Yes.
Like level.
Yeah. It's. Yes, I agree. It's low, and that was one of the criticisms we had of Shogun. Shogun, I believe, as well.
Okay.
We will pause it then. Okay. All right. Interesting. So,
I think it's fascinating to have it like when you've got one track that drops right into the next track. From a production perspective, you would imagine they would sound pretty similar. And like that first track had so much like just fidelity and space, and everything was wide, and I think likely due to not having any vocals. But then it dropped into that second track, and it was just like.
Well, see, whereas I took that differently. The first track had almost no low end in it at all. It was just
that's true.
Just
That's
high
true.
end, and a lot of the times when you would do that kind of stuff in metal, because when the riffs and the guitars come in, that's hits and it feels enormous, and so I do think. But the problem there comes in with the mastering, right? Because a lot of the time, the mastering engineers don't necessarily know how to take a track like that is so sonically different from probably 90% of the rest of what it's going to be on this album that we're going to hear. Like, I'm assuming most everything is going to sound like that track we just heard. Like, maybe there will be an acoustic guitar or something here and there, but I'm guessing everything will be sonically similar to that. And so when you do that, it can be very hard and very tricky to have this other sounding thing that usually like starts an album or an intro of a song or something. And if you're looking at the waveforms and everything, which it seems silly that this would be a thing, but I think it actually happens. When there's no low end, the waveforms are smaller. It's just how it works. Big low end causes big frequency waves, right? And so, or audio waves. And so, if you're just looking at the waveform and you're like, well, this is so much smaller. Like that first track would have had a much smaller waveform to be perceived as being at the same volume. And I think some mastering engineers don't, and I'm not saying that this is the case here, but from what I've experienced, it is hard for mastering engineers to wrap their head around that. And they do a lot of visual mastering and less feeling mastering. Like if something sounds too loud compared to something else, that should be brought down, or the other thing should find a way to boost that. So that's the point of mastering. And with a lot of metal albums, that happens, where there's this sweet electronic thing at the intro of a song, and then once the metal kicks in, the whole song just feels deflated. Because everything sounded, that first part sounded so awesome because it was just synthesized whatever, or someone was using like orchestral samples or like big tom drums or timpani drums or something, and it sounded epic. Like it happens in symphonic metal all the time. There's a symphonic track that's just orchestra, and it sounds phenomenal, like something that could be on a classical album. And then the metal comes in, and you're just like, oh man, it just feels so deflating because it's not that quality. And that first track made me think of that, because it was like, okay, this is sounding interesting. It sounded good. It sounded high fidelity. They were keeping the low out of it on purpose, I think, so that when the low did come in on the second track, it was really big and boomy. But then, like you said, it can feel like you went down in quality and energy when you really need that to go up. So the way to fix that is to chop some of the highs off that first track and to lower the volume so that you're sitting there and you turn it up as you're listening. And then when it gets to the second song, you're like, holy crap, that was way too loud. That's what you want. You don't want to have that second track kick in and be like, oh man, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Couple of
Which
things.
isn't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Which isn't to say that second track sounded bad.
No.
It was just such a stark difference between one and two.
And I think as we go through and listen to more of the album and our ears adjust to it, I actually think it'll probably sound pretty good. I do think there were a couple things that were surprising there to me. One, the guitar solos were not just shreddy guitar solos. That first guitar solo was like more of a artistic thing that was even less defined notes and like it was more like bends and noises almost, which I thought was nice. And then the second guitar solo, when it came in there and we thought the song was ending, but there was still 2 minutes to go, that was a little bit more, I think, what you would have expected to hear on the stuff we listened to before. So that was a little different. And then also his vocals were very different. He never did the James Hetfield thing that at all.
Which was the whole last album.
Yes. And his clean vocals were low in volume. I think his vocals were low overall, all the vocals. Mm-hmm. And I was surprised that when he did the In Waves part during the chorus, it felt like a background vocal and there was harmonies and things. So it felt separated from his lead vocal. That was in the middle. It wasn't spread wide like a lot of backgroundy vocals like that would be. And so that was kind of interesting to me. I think it would have had more impact if it was spread wide like that. However, I didn't hate that it was in the middle. I do hate that it was a little lower in volume, but I do think that part should have been lower in volume than his lead vocals. So because his lead was a little bit too low, it made that part feel way too low.
Even lower, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think, did it sound like there was an effect, some sort of filter on his lead vocal?
I was wondering that because one of the other criticisms I had of him on Shogun is that every time he was singing a clean vocal, it was doubled. And we talked for quite a while about lead vocalists having the feeling self-conscious about their vocals and doubling them to hide the inaccuracies and things like that. And there were people who commented and said, yeah, Matt's pretty self-conscious about his vocals, and he always has been kind of like that. And so, and I'm not saying that that's exactly why it is or why they did it or anything. I'm just saying that could be a reason. And so on this, there were moments where he was singing clean, where it wasn't doubled as much as I could tell. Like it wasn't super doubled. But then there were other times where I was like, okay, it's back to doing the doubling. But there were moments where he was singing by himself. Yeah. And so I'm wondering if maybe what we were hearing was kind of like, and I mentioned the artifacting in the cymbals.
In the cymbals, yeah.
I almost thought I heard a little bit of that in the vocals too.
It sounded funky.
Almost like he recorded it in a bad room and they had to denoise it. And that's what the sound of a denoised track is almost what it sounded like.
Yeah, a certain level of pristineness that it would be an artificial.
Yeah, and or that they put a gate or something on it, because I feel like I was noticing something at the ends of the phrases, every phrase that was like weird. So we'll have to make note of that as we move on.
Yep.
So
Go ahead.
The only thing that's missing from this to me that would make me love this is keyboards. I just feel, I said it last time, it's harder for me to get into a band that doesn't have anything else other than just guitar, bass, drums, vocals. We've talked about it ad nauseum on the channel with Metallica. I'm doing it with Megadeth at the moment too. So, but this to me feels like the type of thing that, like, why not have like a synth bed underneath stuff? Why not have distorted drums and things like that in there? And they're not doing that. That's not what they're going for. And I can appreciate that. But like I said in the last video, that is something that I think would make me like this more. So I just have to adjust my thinking to what they're presenting to me and accept that as what it is. So, all right, moving on to track 3, Inception in the End. This is a bit of a shorter song, so we'll see. Maybe it's a faster one. I don't know. Inception in the End in 3, 2, 1.
Yep, got it so far. guitars left and right different.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't have any problems with how this sounds. Really.
Yeah. It sounds very stereotypical metal.
Yeah.
Like the drums just sound like drums. There's nothing special going on. It's very straightforward sound, but it does sound good.
I still don't know if I like his voice ultimately, but it doesn't sound as too low as it did in the previous song.
Yeah.
It's really kind of crazy how much he can sound like Hetfield, and he just, like, if he doesn't want to do it, then it isn't happening.
It just doesn't happen, yeah. Interesting. Blast beat.
Yeah, big time.
Ooh.
That slide in the vocal there was pretty cool, too. The snare's a little flat. Or I guess dry probably is a better word for it. I don't know if I consider something to complain about.
I like the way the guitars sound.
Yeah, I agree.
They're layering the vocals more. If you remember last time I said that when it was clean vocals, it was just clean vocals. When it was harsh vocals, here they're both of these songs they've done, like they'll throw in a harsh behind or something.
Oh, cool. Yep.
Interesting. Okay, we'll stop. I think that song actually, I think the volume of the vocals bothered me more on that one.
Oh.
Because during the chorus, the riff was more complex, but they weren't leaving space in the riff like there was on the In Waves one. I feel like In Waves was a little bit more of a big soaring chorus with what the guitars were doing, whereas here it was still a complicated, like pretty complicated riff happening behind the chorus, and then his vocals got lost. And then one thing that they were doing that is kind of annoying to me is when he was there was a couple parts during the song. I think it was the chorus for sure, but then more so that like bridge-ish part kind of before the solo. I think it was before the solo. He was doing like vocal harmonies, and it was very obvious. And it was very obvious because they were mono. So the 2 or 3 tracks that he was doing were just mono. And the thing is, you lost what vocal was supposed to be the lead vocal. You were just hearing...
I was thinking that at the end.
Yes, you were just hearing the harmonies all together as one big block of vocals, and there wasn't like a through line of a lead vocal. And I think that it's important. I understand that can be cool, doing that. But in this case, I think that you need that lead vocal to be more present, and then the harmony vocals feel more like background vocals. And in this, they didn't. The harmony vocals and the lead vocals felt identical, and they kind of mushed together, and it was hard to tell what was the lead vocal. And I think it would have sounded a little better if the lead vocal was a little higher and the harmony vocal down a little bit lower.
I had a similar thought of like the vocals. There doesn't seem to be any dynamics in the vocals. The way the music changes has stuff, but the vocals, like no matter what, it's just a flat volume line.
Yeah. Yep, I thought that as well. And whether he's screaming or not. And on one hand, I'm okay with that because it doesn't need to be super dynamic.
Yeah.
But I do think that, during the choruses, it would be nice if the vocals just felt a little bit bigger or there was a few more parts. And I think spreading them wide would do that. And they're not doing that, which is interesting. And I'm not saying it's wrong that they're doing that. But keeping most of the vocals in the middle is an interesting approach to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out what it is about the vocals that feels off or that I don't like, aside from just this, like the timbre, the sound of his voice specifically when he sings is not my favorite thing. But there's something about them that feels very amateurish, but mostly in recording and production versus performance.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't know, and I feel like that is too harsh of a word, but I don't know what else to use. There's something that's just kind of like, this is like, from a vocal perspective, this is a really good sounding local band.
Yeah. Yep. I understand what you're saying. I think what it is, honestly, and I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, honestly. I think that there is no pitch correction on his voice at all. You are hearing him sing it the way that it is. And a huge part of me is like shouting from the rooftops triumphantly that great job for not overproducing the crap out of your music, Because this could be produced the exact same way that like Bad Omens would make an album without, or something. Like just having all the drums feel fake and electronic and like, because this is 2011, so they could have done that kind of stuff at this point. But it doesn't.
That's probably... Yeah.
It doesn't.
I think overall this album, I think you're onto something there, is that it is so underproduced. Not to necessarily detriment, but it's like the drums, they be drummy.
Yep.
And the guitars, they be guitaring, and this guy singing, boy is he ever. And there's not just anything else really going on with that stuff. And it still sounds really great.
Yes.
Like it's really well done for that production style. Big time.
It's kind of like when I listened to the when we were talking about Death Magnetic, not the original release, but the iTunes remaster. And I was saying when we did that reaction, I was like, this is like the most boring, basic metal production ever. And you guys were all like, no, blah, blah, blah. But, and people in the comments were like, no one understood what I was saying. But I think this is kind of another example of that. Like, this is really good for what they're trying to do, but I feel like what they're trying to do, the production element of it has nothing special to it. It's just straightforward metal production. And it's tough because we've had 15 years since this came out for us to start to appreciate all these fancy, shiny things that are in all metal now, right?
Yeah.
And this is 15 years ago, which I know is crazy to say, but metal was different 15 years ago than it is today, and it was way different even 15 years before that and 15 years before that. And so like you have to keep that in mind as well. And I don't, with these guys having like Metallica and stuff like that be their Megadeth, At the Gates, stuff like that being their influences, it's very obvious to me when I listen to this that they want to keep that like metal aesthetic, that true, like we are performing this. I am singing this. We're not using tons of stuff to fix everything to make it perfect. Although I do think the guitars and everything are all sound perfect. Like they sound like there's no wrong notes or anything anywhere. I think the bass has none of that farty tone to it, like a distorted bass tone. I was listening to it more on the first track, but the bass to me just sounds like direct in bass or a amp that was recorded with very little distortion or any effect on it at all. Excuse me, just a bass guitar the way a bass guitar sounds. And I think it works in the mix, but there's very little character to the bass. There's very little character to the drums or anything, really. There's the production has no character of its own that lends to it sounding immediately interesting, which forces you to just pay attention to the song and enjoy the song without any of the flashy bells and whistles,
Yeah, but I mean the bells and whistles. I love a bell and a whistle.
I know that's what brings me to the table in the first place, and so I think that's kind of one of the problems we're having here, which is not a problem for a lot of people. Most people don't. They, in fact, in the metal world, a lot of people dislike that kind of stuff.
I was going to say,
and they want it to just be.
There's definitely a fan base alive and well for metal in its purest form,
right,
so to speak.
Like when they perform this album, so far from everything, like there's no reason that they would need to use any tracks, for example, live, right? There's no reason, because they can perform everything exactly this way. Maybe some background vocals, I guess. But I don't know if they have a guy in the band that does any vocally stuff, but yeah, so I don't know. And again, we sound super negative on this the whole time, but now that we've got the way the album sounds kind of out of our systems, I want to just focus more on the song. I do think the drums sound really good. I do. I think the cymbals and everything sound nice. And when they were riding on the ride, you can really hear the overhead microphones. You can hear the placement of everything. And I think the kick and the snare sound exactly like you would sort of ideally want a kick and a snare to sound in a situation like this without intending to have the kick or the snare have their own character to them. Does that make sense?
Can you repeat it?
Well, no, that's fine. I don't think the kick or the snare, like a lot of the times when you listen to more modern metal, the band wants the kick and the snare to stand out and have its own uniqueness. There's no uniqueness to this. It is the way you would want a kick and a snare to sound, and they're not trying to have either of those elements stand out. They just want them to be a part of the drum kit.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I was saying about how I was like, the snare sounds so flat. And I was thinking about it as I listened to it more, and it's like, well, what it really sounds like is a snare. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think you could probably do some more things to it compression-wise and otherwise to give it more of a pop, like a crack, kind of like really hit. Mm-hmm. Like, of course, like the greatest sounding snare of all time is the Black Album.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Saint Anger.
No, it's just such a canon of a snare in that album, the Black Album.
Right.
And this is where it gets really tricky because, like, I don't know how to record and produce snare drums specifically. I know that impacts in general, you think you want to do stuff to the transient, but the thing that makes impacts different and have character is everything that happens afterwards. The tail is the most important part, and I imagine it's probably the same story when you're recording instruments. And so I don't know what necessarily makes them be different, except for the Black Album snare has about 4 hours of reverb on it. And this is just so dry, not to a detriment from like an objective perspective. Like, it definitely, you can hear it. It sounds good. It's there. But, you know, I watch cartoons because they're things that they can't do in real life.
Right. That's a great analogy, honestly. But I will... Oh, no, you're dead. But I will point out, while you're fixing that, I will point out that with something like this, though, like saying the Black Album snare is the biggest thing ever makes sense for the Black Album because a lot of the drum beats he's doing are just... You know, there's space in the drum part itself to lend for that. Whereas this was a lot more, like we even said, there was a blast beat section in there, which you would have to have the snare be treated completely differently if you were affecting the drums like that. And that's what a lot of metal does. You have a different sounding snare drum when you're doing blast beats and stuff. Same thing with the kick. If you have double bass, it is a different sounding kick than the regular sound of the kick when you're playing through the regular drum beat of the song. So they're not doing that with this. The drums sound the way they sound because they probably were the real sounds that they were making at the time, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Would you say that this was probably a pretty inexpensive production process?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because it sounds so good despite being...
No, I just don't... No. I would say, could you make something that sounded like this cheaply? No, because it's way cheaper to record crappy sounding drums and replace them all than it is to record even mediocre sounding drums that are real drums and to get that stuff all to sound that good. And then to have everything else sound as good is not easy to do. So
yeah, fair. Very fair.
Okay, let's move on and we can continue our discussion. This is, and we'll also listen. This is Dusk Dismantled in 3, 2, 1.
I think there's more ring to this snare than there was on the previous one.
Hopefully they don't want us to be able to hear those vocals.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mid-range frequencies to the guitars, just to point that out. Not a lot of super highs.
Oh. I love the staccato.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. There's a underneath the... Too low.
Yep. Yes. Especially for 3 different vocal tracks.
And it's not like anything else is doing anything interesting. You know what I mean? Like the guitars were just... Yeah, there's a lot of woof to the guitars. Oh, I forgot to say this last time. I'll remember to bring it up this time. Or I'll just say it now. The solo is the same volume as the vocals. Which I always say you need to do, but not when the vocals are too low.
That's how you know the vocals are too low.
Yes. Yep.
Even with all the woof, though, you can still hear the bass. You can still hear the drums. There's not.
And you can hear the definition in the guitars, too.
Yeah. I like that.
I think that's acoustic guitar.
That's cool, yeah. Very medieval sounding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very cool.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. It's a vocal style.
Yeah.
Okay, I've had a revelation.
Yes.
This is overcompressed.
Ha! Interesting.
Because what's happening is during the moments when everything goes away and it's just a guitar on the left or a guitar on the right, or he's singing like at the very end there, everything sounded nice and crisp and clear. But when everything's going together, it loses a little bit of it. And we talked about this ad nauseum with that Chevelle reaction that we did last year. When everything's going, the song should feel the biggest that it will get, right? But instead, you know something is overcompressed when the bigger the song gets musically, the smaller the mix feels. And that is the definition of metal overcompression. And so that's what's happening a little bit here. I don't think it's ruining anything. Now, with all that being said, I think that is probably my favorite Trivium song that I've heard.
Interesting.
Because I love the fact that it was a distorted chorus. I like the dun 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 in the chorus, and then the vocals were heavy as heck. I like the on top of the type vocals. It was great. It's just the production holding it back from keeping me from being like, this is so awesome. You know, and this is the kind of thing where if I was listening to this album in my car, with the road frequencies in the car and just like through speakers instead of headphones, which we sometimes get crap for, but I will maintain that if your album doesn't sound good on headphones, you failed mixing it. And so
we get crap for listening on headphones?
People do that sometimes. And one person in particular does it quite often. And
that's not correct.
His name rhymes with Istopher Owenberg Shea. It doesn't rhyme. That would be Pig Latin. But
that's not how that works. Yeah, but
you know what I mean.
That's the Pig Latin version.
Pig Latin. Yes, the Pig Latin. Yes.
No.
I know. That's fine. We get it with the Beatles videos a lot. People are like, no one listened to headphones back in 1967. It was just the speaker cam that you had, and so it didn't matter if it was stereo or mono. But that's why we make fun of those people, because they're old. But to get back on track serious, if I was listening to this in my car, I would have literally no problem with it. In fact, it'd probably sound fantastic. It would be the perfect thing to listen to when there's noise in the background and stuff. And I probably would be able to hear the vocals all right. And I would be just, driving like, and it was awesome. And I loved it. And I just wish at the end their last chorus, instead of going, they would went over the, not like an electronic beat, but just like doing the hi-hat on the off. It would have been like, it would have been so awesome. I see. But I don't think at any point during their discography they will ever do the offbeat, raunchy hi-hat thing. I don't think we're going to hear that. I don't think we'll ever hear that on a Trivium song. But you never know. But so I'm conflicted because I loved what I was hearing. I just didn't like the way it sounded, which is the most important thing to me. So, you know what I mean?
What a way to say that.
But you know what I mean? Like it's yeah, because it's frustrating, and I understand we sound really whiny to everybody. They're like, "Oh, it sounds fine. Just enjoy the song. Listen to the message." That's not what this is for. No, I know. And we were talking about how we didn't care for his lyrics that much on the previous album, like when we wwere like picking them out and stuff. Yeah, and a lot of people were like, "Yeah, this isn't the kind of band that it doesn't really matter what they're saying too much. I was reading the lyrics afterwards because I had to go through and read them because there were so many swear words that Matt was just throwing out. Oh, sure. That I was reading the lyrics afterwards and I was like, wow, this is like literally some of the dumbest lyrics I've ever heard. No offense to Matt. It doesn't need to be. This is metal, but he's literally doing the metal thing, singing about dwarves and goblins and fire erupting from the volcano and thunder and gods and all this stuff. You just got to
put something there,
Right. And so he's doing his job to the best. I mean, it doesn't need to be done any differently than that. And so lyrically, like, I don't think this is the type of band where people would want us to be like, you missed the message that Dusk Dismantled is trying to send you, so I don't think we're doing anybody a disservice by not paying attention to the lyrics that much, but it's just frustrating because, like I said, I loved that. I would really have enjoyed that song if it sounded better, in my opinion.
Not my favorite vocal style.
Yeah.
So, but there are things about it that were cool. I liked like some of the stuff I pointed out, staccato, guitar stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah, and I said, I often say on the channel here, when we're listening to metal stuff, that I think that it's not an unwritten rule, but I think that the volume of the guitar solos should be equal to the volume of, at least equal to the volume of the lead vocals. And a lot of the times with metal, they it was mixed by a guitar guy, and or it was mixed by, or the singer had input on what everything sounded like, and he's like, no, lower my vocals. People don't need to hear me singing. It's not important. I'm a bad singer. Whatever. Hot blah blah blah.
I mean, I think that could go hand in hand with having a little bit of lyrics like this. Like,
I think so
I'm
too.
Clearly not speaking in a way that it needs to be heard.
Right.
Nothing I'm saying matters.
Yeah, right. And so in terms of the volume of the guitar solo, sometimes with metal, the guitar solo is like way ass too loud because the guitar guy had control over the mix and he's like, bring my guitar up. Or it's just buried to hell underneath everything. which I don't understand, and I think could sometimes have to do with mastering, because we have talked about this before too. In the process of mastering, what happens? The sides get brought up, and whatever's in the center gets pushed down.
Mm-hmm.
And so that could be a reason why the vocals are feeling lower. Especially because I've pointed out now every time, almost all the vocals have basically been mono, just right in the middle.
Yeah.
And so they are, and so if that's what's happening with the overcompression like I'm talking about, maybe it's not even the mixing guy's fault that much that the vocals are getting drowned out so much, because the outsides are getting brought up and what's in the middle is getting brought down. They're not bringing it down, but it's getting smashed because of what's happening on the sides. And that just is a thing that happens with mastering. It happens in any genre of music, but especially with metal, when you have giant, enormous, chunky thing over here, giant, enormous, chunky thing over here, very staccato-y rhythm drums, and then vocals, which sit on top of everything in the middle. It just is a weird thing to balance. It's hard to do. Mm-hmm. And I think that might be what's happening, that the stuff in the middle is getting drowned out. And then that's because the kick and the snare the kick is not as prominent as it could be, for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't think it sounds bad. And I think the snare is working for me. The snare works for me. I think it sounds really good. I don't have any problem.
I liked it in that song.
Yeah, I don't have
it was only the one
with
song where it stuck out to me in a funky way, because the next two or whatever, even just that one, I don't remember how many it's been, but it sounded fine.
Yeah, and I think that was the one you were talking about. It was when they were doing the blast beady stuff, which may have been, they may have had to alter the sound of the snare quite a bit to make that part work at all. So,
and when you talk about a stereo vocal, presumably it's an artificial stereo where you monotrack and then you make two different ones. And
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Because you're not going to.
Oh no! Yes, like sorry. Yes,
like a twin mic
panned.
Thing.
Yeah, panning them in stereo. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And I think that would be helping them a lot in this case. But however, if it is what I'm talking about, and it's the mastering that's bringing out the sides and crushing the middle, and if you did have the vocals on the sides, then the background vocals or the harmony vocals or whatever was panned out there would probably be way more prominent than the lead vocals either. Like anyway, and you don't want that either. So
yeah.
It's just this week we have this problem on the channel all the time with stuff where we'll hear what's obviously a great album, but the mixing is just holding it back from us being able to enjoy it to its fullest extent. And we have this all the time. And that's why I get so excited when we hear something that's just mixed so good. And it just is so much more rare to have that happen, you know?
It is.
And which is a bummer. It's a bummer, but it is what it is. Okay, Watch the World Burn. This is a bit of a longer one. Those last two were shorter, and I think you could feel them being shorter. Like the guitar solos were not as prominent. The last album was like guitar solo central, and we were talking about like prog elements of it and everything. So far, not here at all. Very straightforward.
It's crazy how much difference this is from the previous album.
Yes, very much so. And again, I just want to say Still Remains. I am getting so much Still Remains from this. And I love that band. The cool thing about them is they do just this exact same thing with tons of awesome keyboards. So it's like, you know. Okay, Watch the World Burn in 3, 2, 1. Yep. Whenever there's an element playing by itself, notice how dynamic it feels. And then when everything comes in, how it feels smushed.
Big bass. That's nice. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a little hit.
Doubled vocals.
There is a little bit more Hetfield in this one. Mm-hmm.
Yes, this feels like a bigger chorus.
Still a little low, but I suspect
the
that'll
vocals
continue throughout.
I was actually more meaning the guitars. Like the guitars changed what they were doing. let's listen through this one and through the next one too. Okay. I'm wondering if we listen to a bigger chunk, if it feels different to us. Tom drums.
Funky placement.
Yeah.
Cymbals sound good.
Yeah. All right, give me a good solo.
Interesting.
Yeah. I like this like pre-chorus part.
Yeah.
I just think he's doubling his vocals more than he needs to. It doesn't need to be done that much.
Yeah.
Oh. So, you know, this feels bigger.
Very little going on in the middle, though, during that bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the kick is getting totally smashed. We should start some kind of a... We're gonna listen through the next song. Okay, we're going into Black.
Oh, nice. Big. Love that burn.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. More space.
I think because the guitars are just playing higher notes. Well, I don't know. Ooh.
Yeah, I love those big screams.
Yeah. I got reverse vocals.
Yes. I think it's because there's so much space in the guitar part.
Yeah. I think they're just literally playing higher notes, and so the guitars are less woofy because there's less low frequencies in what the part they're playing.
Okay. I think it's my favorite one so far.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this one a lot. So that could be someone else from the band doing some black in there. The whatever black, I think they're saying. Okay. Yeah, this is a little soil worky. Oh yeah.
Cool.
Got the splash symbol.
Old Hetfield.
Weird. They like... Those are like sirens. That was cool.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, that's a cool riff. Da-da-da-da.
Bam, bam.
Yeah, it's cool.
I just feel they're just yelling black.
Yeah.
Like, we could refer to it as black instead of...
Yeah. Blech. Yeah, this is the coolest one.
Yeah.
Should we keep listening?
I gotta grab something from outside.
Okay, okay,
sure.
that's fine. I was gonna say, I feel like we're grooving a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll pause. Okay,
right.
And that's yeah. Okay.
Yeah. See, that one's catchy. I'm already whistling it on my way to the door.
But desolation.
Yep.
Yep. See, the thing that I was like, whoa, that's really weird or interesting. What they did was they had, and I would love to see the session because I guarantee you could see the automation. I can see the automation lines like this, like an X.
Yeah.
He had two vocal parts going during like the bridgy part of that song. And one of them was like a up here, like he was doing the singing. And then one was like more of a down, like more of a grunty part. And what they did was they started out with the grunty part being like the background vocal and the singy part being the lead vocal. And then as the part went, they literally just switched them. And they brought up the volume of the grunty part and they brought down the volume of the lead vocal and switched their places. But it was weird. I don't know if I care. I don't know if I cared for it that much.
Because they did that in another song too.
Yeah. Well, I didn't notice it before, but yeah.
Well, that song where you first brought up that it was mono and that all the whatevers. That's where I noticed like which one of these is the lead because they kind of like.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and that was the first. That was in waves. So that was just that was what that was. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we were grooving with it pretty good. So let's just continue on, and this next song is 4, and then we have 1:22. So we'll listen to this next song, then we'll stop for a bit, and then we'll maybe listen to the next 3 tracks in a row. We'll just see how we feel. So this is a Skyline Severance in 3, 2, 1. I love how all the songs are just like bing, go, you know?
Yep.
Bing, go. Bingo. See, they're doing the like play rhythm guitars and then play lead guitars over the rhythm guitars more, whereas on Shogun the rhythm guitars were lead guitars.
I see.
Listen to that kick.
Machine gunny.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some low end missing in this song.
This is heavier. Way heavier, this album.
Interesting. Oh, this album?
Yeah, the whole album.
Yes.
They're layering the vocals a lot more, and I love that.
sounds like Unearth.
That's a cool riff. Yeah.
I like that.
Yes. Kind of soil worky as well. Ooh. Ooh, whoa. Wow, I really wish that sounded better. The solos are a pretty big letdown on this album so far. Like, that was like a big feature on Shogun. Oh. Oh, wow. This is cool too. Ooh, what was that sound?
Sounded like a gym whistle.
Yeah, I think it was guitar though, which is really cool. Whoa, it was a guitar pedal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very Seven Dusty thing.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. Ow.
Yep. Don't fade out, you. Don't do it.
Nope, no fade out.
They got a new pedal and wanted to put it on the album, and they had some fun with it. Okay, so we'll pause it after this. We'll pause it now. Yeah, that was another banger. I like that one too.
That wasn't as much for me. Dark still wins, but
yeah, I still think Black was better than that one, but just only slightly. I really like I think I'm getting a little bit more of what they're going for. I think it works better when we listen to multiple tracks in a row. That's so stupid, but I think it's true. I think I'm picking up what they're putting down a little bit more now. Okay. And I think they're just, one thing I mentioned during that song is I think the solos have been very on Shogun, the solos were clearly like a focal point. Like, here we go. And I do think that the soloing we've heard on this album has been more interesting to me because I don't necessarily just care for fast shredding solo all the time. And I feel like that was what they were doing a lot on Shogun. Whereas here, with the solo in that song was my favorite solo we've heard on this album so far. And I really
like the tone of it.
Yes.
I like more mid-range solos than the high, just, widdly wah forever.
Yes, and ever. Yes, and I like the way that they would do little bits, and then they have little run parts where they're, it's like stuff like runs in the middle of a line, and they mess around with the waterfall feeling of like the trickling feeling of like, rather than like placing the notes exactly like da 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 da. It's like like I like that feeling, that like trickling or falling down feeling of guitar solos which is not easy that's hard to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to be super technical. I feel like doing the having that trickly timing feel is is difficult, although it's also something that amateur guitar players do because they just kind of rush through things like without playing all the notes straight. But that's not what's happening here. They are playing the notes straight, but they're adding that extra timing effect to it, which I really liked. With that was the best solo on the album, I think.
There's a Metallica solo that's like, and then they like do it a couple of times and they stack it. And then they bring it down at like mids. It's really great.
Yes,
I don't remember what song it is, but
I think I know exactly which one you're talking about because there's not a lot of Metallica solos that stand out to me, but I think their best solos were probably on their first 4 albums, which are the albums that I have the hardest time listening to. It is.
What a
and
pisser.
I know. And I tried. Actually, it's so funny because last night I was like, what do I want to listen? I listen to music every night before I fall asleep. And a lot of the time it's as I'm falling asleep. And then I'll wake up 5-10 minutes after I fall asleep. I still got the music going. And I look at the track listing, or I know the track listing. I'm like, oh, dang, I missed like 2 or 3 songs in a row there. Time to take the headphones off and go to bed. And last night I put on Kill 'Em All, which I have gone on record as saying as I believe my favorite album of Metallica's from the 80s. I think it's the best sounding one by far.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's not, if you actually go and listen to this stupid things. But anyway, I don't think I heard anything past the first song. So I really was so tired, I guess. But I was listening because I wanted to hear Whiplash, because I like Whiplash and I like Metal Militia and I like especially like Seek and Destroy, even though the album version of that song is not as good as the live version that I heard when I first heard it. But the album version, like, talk about not having transients line up at all. Like, holy, you can the first hit on that song, you can look at the waveform and be like, what? How did this make it to marketing? You know what I mean? How did this make it to press? Because it's awful. But whatever, they were young. It was 1982, 1981?
2 or 3, yeah.
82.
One or two.
Yeah. And so, yeah. Okay, so we're moving on to Ensnare the Sun, and this is only 1:22, so I'm assuming that it is a lead-in track to Built to Fall, which is another one of their singles. And it has a music video attached to it, which we're not going to be watching, but it's nice to point that out. So we're going to listen through Ensnare the Sun and Built to Fall, and if we're feeling like we're grooving with everything, we're also going to listen to Caustic Are the Ties That Bind, okay? But we're going to at least listen to tracks 8 and 9. Maybe we're going to listen all the way through to track 11. All right, ready? Ensnare the Sun in 3, 2, 1.
Cool.
Something different.
Cool.
Yes.
Ooh. Whoa. Now we're talking.
Let's go. Hear how it doesn't
yeah.
sound all smashed to hell?
That sounds so good.
It does sound really good. Wow. Yeah. I'll bet it was fun to do these vocals for Matt. Which, by the way, the new Cell Dweller thing I told you, they released the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver soundtrack. There's like 3 regular songs on the album. One of the songs is Cell Dweller featuring Matt Heafy of Trivium.
Oh, wow.
He does the vocals on it with Clayton, I believe. We'll react to that sometime when we do, yeah. We'll do that. Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Back to the other band.
Oh, I'm loving this already.
Night and day difference sonically from what we just heard.
Yes. Yeah. His vocals sound a little bit more present here.
Can you imagine if this whole album sounded like that last song?
I know. Well, but it can't. You can't. It's the different stuff. It's a different thing.
I know.
Oh, that reminds me of something else they're not doing on this album. Yo, let's go. This is catchy as heck. On Shogun, they would do like a lead guitar part while he was doing the chorus vocals. So it was like a soaring solo, like a simple solo underneath the chorus vocals, and we both really liked that. Not on this album really at all. They did it only a little bit on one of the songs earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. This song is In Flames-ish. Not the chorus part, but there's In Flames.
Going back into his head feels silent here a bit.
Yeah, which I don't mind. I didn't mind it on the last album either.
No, I don't hate it. I comment on it because I can't help myself, but I do not dislike it.
No. Very poppy chorus. Not pop, like pop music. We'll keep going.
Okay.
We'll keep going. That was great. Love that one. So that's 3 songs in a row we really liked. Whoa. The guitar's like jumped in volume there. Yeah, they did it. They put it on one side, then the other. Listen to that bass.
Oh, yeah.
You can now hear that there is like a non-DI sound in there, like a distorted track.
What are you talking about?
The kill and spill, or the bass part?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, when they were doing the part where you could hear the bass by itself with the drums, you could tell that there was an additional bass track above the like low, chunky frequency we're hearing.
Okay.
It's probably the same take. It's just a different, like a distorted track on top of it, of the same take.
Yeah, process or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. I like all the effects they're doing to the vocals. Like, all of a sudden, they're like, hey, we're going to play around with vocals where they're at. Okay, let's do something interesting here.
Not loud enough.
It surges through our soul, a
See, his vocals sound so much better when they're not doubled.
Yeah.
Much better. And his harmony vocals sound great. So I don't have a problem when they do those together. But like here, he's got a harmony vocal in there and he's doubling his lead, and I don't think it's necessary. Like, this sounds great.
He sounds like a totally different guy.
Yes.
It's like the style that he's using.
Yes.
This I like.
Yes.
Yeah, this I like.
Okay, interesting.
Back to the other band.
Yep. But that was awesome. I loved all that.
It was. I liked it a lot. As I said, as we get into the second half of the album, it's getting more interesting instead of less.
Yes. We'll pause it after this.
Bam.
Okay, so yeah, that was really great. Obviously, something super different in there that really helps that song stand out for me. I don't think it's the best one or anything like that. However, I do like what they were doing, and all of a sudden, the last couple songs, they're playing around with the vocals, right? And they have been doing that a little bit throughout in terms of the vocal parts, but now I feel like for some reason they're spreading the vocals wider now, like they're panning them more and doing more interesting things there. They in Built to Fall, you know, they did the thing, or no, that was this song on the left and the right, but that was the first half of the song. Then after, they didn't do what I perceived to be the chorus part. They didn't do that at the end of this song. So that was a bit more progressive-y, like a song from Shogun, which I thought was interesting. I really like Built to Fall was very poppy feeling, and I liked that a lot. I loved the chorus. That was probably my favorite chorus on the album. Super catchy. If I heard that song 2 more times, I'd probably be able to sing along with that whole chorus, which is saying something because I'm not that good at remembering melodies and things like that. Sure. So I thought that was a really great chorus. I liked that song a lot. I have really enjoyed from Black, Skyline, Severance, Built to Fall, and Caustic Are the Ties That Bind were all awesome. And Snare the Sun was cool too, but that was that weird, like, almost like Middle Eastern flair vibe thing into it.
I really liked it a lot. It was you know, but it was also 1 minute 20 and no vocals, so it barely counts as a
right.
song.
It was just an interlude thing. It was an interlude thing,
yeah.
Which is cool, and I'm glad that that's there at this point in the album, because the regular version of this album, Chris, I think only has 13 songs on it.
Okay.
Hold on. Actually, we should check that. Let me go back and see. The regular version of this album has 13 songs. So, actually, you know what? Okay, so it's Black, Skyline, Built, Caustic. Okay, so that song we just hold on. Bring up the track list for the album we're listening to, the special deluxe edition. So so on the regular edition, it goes track 6 Black, track 7 Skyline Severance, track 8 Built to Fall. So there's a track in between there, right?
Ensnared the Sun. So yes. Track 8.
Okay, so then we have track 9 is Caustic. Track 10 is Forsake. I'm just saying the first words. Track 11 is Chaos Reigns. Track 12.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so is there a different track between Forsake and Chaos?
So yeah, Caustic is 10. 11 is Forsake. And then you said it was Forsake, then Chaos?
Yes.
Chaos Reigns is 14, and you've got Drowning in Slow Motion and A Gray So Dark for 12 and 13.
Interesting. Okay, awesome. And I love it when bands do that. When the special edition or the deluxe edition or whatever, they
changes the track.
Yes, they actually the track listing is different because they feel those songs would actually fit within the album itself rather than just putting all the bonus stuff at the end.
Yeah, here's some extra, chaw, you pigs,
Yeah, but I like that. I think that's really cool. So, okay, so then in that case, then the next song we're going to listen to is Forsake, Not the Dream. And then we'll probably do Drowning in Slow Motion then. But remember, on the regular edition of the album, it goes right from Forsake into Chaos Reigns. So Forsake, Not the Dream, and then it goes into Chaos Reigns. So Drowning in Slow Motion and A Gray So Dark are two bonus tracks. So that's really cool. And
so was Ensnare the Sun, because you didn't list that at all.
Right, and so was Ensnare the Sun. Exactly. Yep. So let's go ahead and listen to, maybe what we'll do is we'll listen to Forsake, Not the Dream, then we'll pause, then we'll listen to Drowning in Slow Motion, and well, whatever. We could listen to all four of them at the same time, too. We'll see how we feel. So this is another long one, like we just had, but it'll probably be quite different, I would assume, just because that sounds like a thing that they should do. This is Forsake, Not the Dream, in 3, 2, 1. This is Japanese metal riff.
Yeah. Anime starting.
Oh. Yep. Korichi mata nu hoshi nagara tore. Oh. Really low vocals. Yeah.
Oh, that was a cool guitar part.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
I like this.
Yep. Let's go.
Yeah, this is good.
Dude, this is great. This is reminding me more of Shogun.
Okay. Really dinging that ride. Nice and clean. Whoa. Ooh, look at him go.
They're doing a lot of the like echoey parts, which I always love, but a lot of people think are super cheesy.
Oh, and they throw another thing in the back?
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's cool.
Like when they say like Forsake, 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 Forsake. This is cool. Overall, not my favorite song, though. I don't like it as much as the ones we just heard.
Yeah.
We'll pause. Yeah, okay, yeah, I didn't feel that one as much, and it felt more like an earlier song off the album. Vocals were I feel like they were just a smidge lower.
They came in almost the lowest so far.
Yeah, they felt that way.
Low.
The guitar solo on that song, though, great. Awesome guitar solo. I loved it.
I did like that song.
They were playing more with having lead guitars be the rhythm guitars, like the main guitars. So far on this album, the main guitars have always just played the rhythm part, and then all the lead parts sit on top of those guitars. That's what the whole album's been. Whereas I feel like with Shogun, they wrote the riffs of the song more so that there weren't moments where they were doing like 4 tracks of guitar at the same time, right? 2 rhythms and 2 leads. Instead, what they were doing was the guitar riff, the part of the song, incorporated leads into the riff more on Shogun. Whereas on this, when there's lead guitars or solos, there's always a bed of rhythm guitars underneath it, which generally that's the way I prefer metal to be. Like, I don't want to, that sounds like we can't do this live because I'm not going to be playing this part live, so we can't do that. I don't like that kind of stuff. And the metal bands that I've worked with, I've had to convince them, like, no, you should do the rhythm track on your side too, and then we'll play the solo and we'll put the solo in the middle rather than just having the solo off to the side while there's one rhythm guitar on the left. Like, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
No, thank you.
You know, and sometimes you have to fight people over that stuff because it's like, well, that's not how we play it live. Well, it's like, I don't give a crap. You're here in the studio making an album, so do that instead. But you know, just kind of a taste thing, but also, you know, like Metallica doesn't do that as often. You know, when Metallica is playing, when Kirk is soloing, James is riffing, right? That's what happens live. But then on the albums, there's also, generally, I feel, there's also a guitar part on the left when Kirk is soloing or whatever.
James is always on the left. Kirk's on the right.
Oh, sorry. That I meant where Kirk would be, if Kirk only had one track of guitar across the whole song, the solo would be on the right side then. But when Kirk is soloing, there is still a rhythm track on the right side, which we know at a certain point in their career, they stopped having Kirk do rhythms, right? And James just did all the rhythm guitars on the album.
I mean, I don't know that that's true. If you know that that's true, then...
Oh, yeah, we talked about that a lot on Load and Reload and all that stuff. Like, Kirk didn't do any of the rhythm guitars after that, as to my knowledge. It was all James doing all the rhythm guitars.
Makes sense, yeah.
But unless it's reverse, and Kirk started doing the rhythms at that point.
I know James is always doing rhythms. So
right. That's what he's known for sure. Yeah. Sorry, it doesn't matter, but it's whatever.
He does occasionally have his own solos, and you can always tell which ones are his. But yeah.
Yes, for sure, because they're better. A million times better. But sorry, everybody from our Discord that is getting mad at me for not remembering all the Metallica stuff. I guess it's been too long since we did a Metallica video, huh? Maybe we should rectify that sometime in the next couple months.
Yeah, email Metallica and tell them to put out a new album. So.
Oh God, I wish. That would be so awesome. Whew. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Sorry. Hey everybody watching, let's get the Trivium video up to 100,000 views. Let's get the Trivium views up.
Only if we spend more time talking about Metallica in it.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Okay, so now we're moving on to Drowning in Slow Motion, and we're going to listen to this one and the track after, and these are 2 bonus tracks that were not included on the original version. In 3, 2, 1. So this is a bonus song. And I did look. It is not...
That bass tone.
Neither of these songs are covers.
Okay. Interesting bass sound in the back there.
It's different production because it's a bonus song. So
yeah. Different is usually euphemistic for worse.
Yeah. Snare sounds completely different.
That symbol on the far right is just jingles. There's no definition.
Well, and to be fair, if it's bonus songs, don't often get the same amount of treatment that everything else does.
For sure.
And it probably could have been mastered at a different time as well, which could be a good thing in this case. Yeah. They don't do breakdowns really ever, so...
Too bad.
Yeah. Ooh, that was cool. Oh, yeah.
It should be so much more louder.
Yeah, it does seem way quieter.
It's like an army without a leader.
Yeah.
Or I guess a football team with no quarterback. Like it's all just somebody, we need to have a focal point.
Yes. Yep, I agree. And I think that that's a compression thing. I do.
Man, that symbol on the right is exhausting.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me, but after you pointed out I was listening to it, I was like, okay. All right, so conceivably this next song, which is much like half the length, is the same kind of sound. So we'll keep going into a gray so dark. Wow. Now this feels like it could be a cover. Let me double check. Because it just doesn't sound the same. What a cool riff.
Yeah, I like that.
And I love fast guitars like this. Love it.
Reminds me of Criteria. Do you know Criteria?
No, huh?
Omaha band.
Oh, no, huh?
Yeah, very interesting.
Huh.
I like this. The guitars are so fun here.
Do you remember that Cat's Claw band from Omaha that we did a reaction to last year that I heard when I was in the hospital? We listened to like one song and they were like, it was like crazy, a huge breakdown. They released an album last year and I listened to it and it was pretty good, but it wasn't amazing or anything, so I didn't bother to bring it up, but you should check it out. It's totally not like this at all. It's way more like it's all breakdowns and stuff. It's not like this, but that's such a cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll pause it.
Okay.
So yeah, those two songs, not that impressive to me, although I did enjoy that song. I
like that second one.
There is something about the way that his vocals are in the choruses that just, they sound like you were pointing out in the previous track that there's no leader, there's no quarterback, whatever. When he's doing his harmony vocals and stuff, we said it in the first track, they're all so similar in volume that none of the vocals are standing out, and it just kind of seems like one single thing in the middle, and it's boring kind of because of that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it could sound so much better, even with just the elements they have. Like, a lot of the times when we're talking about how something could be improved or whatever, we like add elements to the music, you know, and that's not fair on our part. But in this case, I feel like they have enough elements there to make this more interesting. They're just like intentionally keeping the mix less interesting. So I don't know. I don't necessarily care for that as much.
Yeah, I agree. The vocals are the weak point of this album for sure.
Yeah, which is and the overcompression of everything. I think that just in general, the mix is not. It's leaving a little bit to be wanted, but I guess I don't know. I guess at some point we just have to accept that, like, we're not saying it's horrid or anything like that, but it's just like when things don't sound as good as we know that they can, it is frustrating and it's disappointing. So, and
it's tough to understand why. So often it's tough to understand why. Like we speculate all the time about why vocals are low or whatever else. Sidechain steals every track instead of just a few, and it's like just one of those things where it's like, why is this like this? It could be not like this and it would be better. And it's not like there's nothing that we know that the people who make these albums do not know.
Oh, exactly. They know way more than us, probably, I would hope.
Yeah.
You know,
I would really hope so.
So it's like, I don't
yeah,
know.
Why?
And part of it, I wonder if it has to do with like, this is 2011, which was kind of at the height of, well, not at the height. It was kind of, I think the compression wars was tapering down by this point.
Yeah.
But like
I think it peaked in like 2008.
Yeah. And like 2011 was like the height of dubstep. 2011, 2012 was like dubstep starting, which you would think wouldn't have any relevance to this at all. However, I imagine that music at the time was sounding so enormous and huge. You know, this is 1 year after the release of Immersion by Pendulum. You know, so like knowing that kind of stuff exists, and I'm not saying that album is perfect sounding because it's not, but knowing that stuff like that exists, and then this sounds the way that it does, means that they were intentionally going for this to sound like this, and then it is the over compression thing. Like I understand what that guy was saying in that review. If I cut that out, I don't remember. I don't. Depends what I do with the video, but like I understand what that guy was saying. Like he said overly polished. Or something, which I don't agree with, but at the time and throughout all times, like, or at least the 2000s, like it is not uncommon to have metal be super over compressed, and this is just another example of it. You know, so
yeah,
it is what it is. But okay, now we're moving on to Chaos Reigns, and so we forgot basically what Forsake the Dream is at this point, but we have to try to think that going from that song into this song is how it's supposed to be on the actual version of the album. So this is Chaos Reigns in 3, 2, 1. That's cool right away. Okay.
That is a snare drum in a room, let me tell you.
Feels a lot bigger because we're back to the actual album production now.
Yeah.
This is a heavy song.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of boring.
Yeah. It's heavy, but it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ooh. That's a good volume for that. Well, maybe not. I don't know. the vocals that are spread wide are louder and more prominent than the vocals in the middle. That's got to be the mastering, the compression. It sounds good though. This sounds heavy.
Yeah.
We'll continue on. On. Okay, so is this the final track then on the... No. So of all these yesterdays is the penultimate track on the regular edition, and the final track is Leaving This World Behind.
Okay.
Okay. Whoa. One vocal track sounds way better.
Yep.
Hopefully from this point on in their career, they did that more often. He doesn't need to hide behind an extra track. Acoustic guitar. And clean electric. This is pretty progressive sounding. The harmony is very tight.
Double track again now?
Yes. And with an extra harmony vocal in there. Okay, interesting. This is like a shine down type of thing.
Yes.
Something like in very early 2000s rock type of thing. Even like Three Doors Down or something.
It's that that ballad that Stone Sour had.
Yeah. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
That one guitar is so boomy.
Yeah. Great solo. And it's good volume.
Yeah, this is nice.
And then the vocals are way lower than that volume of that solo. I don't hate this.
No.
You know, I feel like songs like this kind of suffer the most from overcompression because it doesn't feel dynamic. You know, like this feels lower in volume overall than the verses when it had the clean guitars.
Yeah.
It should be the opposite. This should feel way bigger, but it doesn't. But the actual song itself, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But this suffers, though, the most from the overcompression.
This is a great final song.
Yes. Yes. Good final song vibes. We'll listen from this one through the next one, and then we'll pause. This next one is just a minute 32, so I'm guessing it's like the outro of the album.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be reference that first track again or something. Or just be acoustic, or who knows.
Or it'll be guitar feedback sounds for a minute and a half.
Oh, God. Or maybe it'll be, like, just crushing. Oh, nope, acoustic guitar. Hopefully they don't want us to be able to hear that. Do they have this as lyrics in this song?
Yeah.
They do, which is terrible. Because those aren't lyrics. That is a background sample or something. That's awful. If we're supposed to be able to hear that.
Well, reading the lyrics while I hear it, I still am not sure where they are, which one's which. So
I know, that's awful. I turned the lyrics off because I don't want to know, but I like the concept of this, though, with the acoustic guitars and then just having the fast picking. It's a cool concept, but I like stuff like this on the end of an album.
You do or don't?
I do. All right, we'll pause. A lot. It's not. It's like a. Wow, that was a sentence. It's like sort of cliche to have like the end of your album be this buildup of just noise and then stopping. Which is awesome. Which, by the way, you're familiar with no, you're not familiar with the Beatles, dude. On Abbey Road, you know how people say the Beatles invented metal with Helter Skelter, right?
I've never heard that, but okay.
Oh, you don't know that? Okay, well, people say the Beatles invented metal with Helter Skelter, their song Helter Skelter. They didn't. The Beatles actually...
They didn't. I was just going to say, no, they didn't.
No, they didn't. They actually invented metal with their song off of Abbey Road, the song that ends the first half of the album. Hold on, let me...
If I never have to hear about what the Beatles invented again before I die, that'll be exactly the right way to live.
I used to be there with you until I started listening to the Beatles, and then I was like, wow, they're actually right. The song I Want You, She's So Heavy is like one of the most badass things I've ever heard. It's 7 minutes and 47 seconds long, and it is the birth of stoner grunge doom metal for sure, like 1,000%. Wow. And they were supposed to. The reason I'm bringing this up is because they were supposed to fade the song out, right? So they just kept repeating the end a bunch, getting heavier and like building it and everything, and having it be more loose and crazy. And the day they were there to like cut the master, to do the fade out on the board, John Lennon was just like, no, I think you should leave it and just let it end. And so instead of it, but it couldn't, it ran too far. So like literally the song just goes and it just goes, and then it just literally stops, and the needle runs off the edge of the record, and it's just done. Right.
That's cool.
It's so badass. And I can't tell you the number of times the fact that the Beatles have a song that was supposed to fade out, and they were like, no, we don't want the song to fade out. And the fact that the Beatles were like, we're not going to tour or play live music anymore. We're just going to make studio albums. And the fact that the Beatles are like, we're going to record everything nice and clear and crisp, and we're not going to throw reverb on it. And the fact that the Beatles are like, we're going to make everything sound really nice. I'm like, yes, you guys are doing all the right things. If I would have been there at the time, I'd have patted you on the back and told you did the right things, because they don't tour. They didn't do live music, although they did, and they were great and whatever, but they couldn't, they didn't tour. They didn't like to fade songs out. They did all these things that are just right in my wheelhouse, and I love them so much for it. And then they invented metal too. So throw all that into them.
Wow.
So I think you hit the nail on the head with all of these. Yesterdays is a good final track. And then after the final track, having like an album outro, I love that. I'm totally fine with that. Especially on an album like this, where you have an album intro, and then you have the whole album, and then you have the album, the final track, and then you have an album outro. I think that's cool. I like albums that are structured like that. I like that. But we still have 2 songs to go, and this next one is the song from God of War, like I was talking about.
Yeah, super weird.
So this is Shattering the Skies Above. It's a bonus track previously released on the God of War Blood and Metal soundtrack. And I didn't know what this was. I didn't know what this was, so I clicked on it. And it says, God of War Blood and Metal is a heavy metal homage by various bands on Roadrunner Records label. It features original music inspired by the Greek era and the God of War video game series. The EP was released for purchase on March 2nd, 2010, and is available from Shockhound and the iTunes Store. It was also included as a downloadable content in the God of War 3 Ultimate Edition and Ultimate Trilogy Edition collections, which included a bonus track. I have that.
This is so weird.
Is it?
I think this is really weird.
Okay.
But whatever, man.
I think that's awesome. And I think if there was ever a video game series that deserved a metal soundtrack to go along with it, God of War is that video game. So I love the idea of this. And the fact that there were all original songs on there, which the other songs, by the way, do you want to know the other bands on there?
Yeah.
So Trivium was track 2. Track 1 is Killswitch Engage. Track 3 is Dream Theater.
This is so 2010.
Track 4 is Taking Dawn. Track 5 is Opeth. Track 6 is Mutiny Within. And then the bonus track is The Turtlenecks with their song Even God's Cry.
Crazy.
So, but...
What a weird... That's funny.
Yeah, he's strange, and I love it too, yes. So this is Shattering the Skies Above from 2010. I'm assuming this is going to sound vastly different from a different recording session. So maybe it'll sound better. We'll see.
And then what if it sounds incredible?
I hope so. I hope so. And then the track after this is Slave New World, which is a cover of a Sepultura song. So we'll just go ahead and listen to both.
Okay.
I did not know Sepultura was considered... I think I knew that they were considered a thrash band, but I did not know that they were as prominent in the classic thrash genre as they are. So
I've heard of them so much throughout my whole life, and I don't know if I've heard a song. Yeah,
and I know Max Cavalera and his other band Soulfly, and then the Cavalera Conspiracy, which is the 2 Cavalera brothers doing a band themselves. So I'm aware of them and everything, but I literally don't think I've ever heard a Sepultura song ever. Maybe on one of the soundtracks that I have, but. But first we'll get to the God of War song first. So this is Shattering the Skies Above in 3, 2, 1.
This is gonna be great.
I hope so. A lot more high frequency. Kick sounds awesome. And look, the guitarists don't have that whoopy ass all over them. There's low coming from the kick drum.
Yeah. Vocals are still too quiet.
I'm going to look at the lyrics for this one and see if it talks about Kratos. Yeah. I was going to say maybe they'll mention Atreus, but he wasn't born yet for 10 years after this. Ooh, the snare not as good. It kind of stands out.
Pretty dead.
Yeah, it's a little... It doesn't fit within the mix. Dude, this is actually pretty badass. Like, if you know about what the God of War story is, this is pretty sweet.
Oh, sure. I don't see how it's possible to be able to know what the lyrics to this are just by listening to it.
Oh, okay.
That ride sounds great.
Yeah. Your solos sound way better here. If you could have a good mix of these two things, you know, mix the album and then this with the high frequencies and the volume of the vocals and the solos, it would be perfect. Oh, listen. Oh. Ooh. Do you think this is mixed better than the album?
Yes.
I'm kind of leaning that way too, honestly. It's tough because both have their pros and cons.
Yeah, it's almost a lateral move, but it's got more space, it's got more highs. The vocals are still too low, but I don't know. Yes. I think it sounds better overall.
Yeah. All right, we are actually going to pause after this one.
Okay.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, since people always want us to break down some lyrics and stuff, sure, I want to look at these and say how, to me, this is referencing Kratos, of course. So if we look at the second verse, I think it was of this. Well, actually, let's look at the first verse, I guess, and see what it says. Oh, no, it's the same thing. Okay, so take me into the seas, right? Which we know the first God of War game starts with him on the boat. Starts,
oh, sure.
And it actually first starts with him jumping off of the cliff into the sea to delete himself, or however won't get us in trouble on YouTube. So he's trying to get rid of himself, and so he jumps off the cliff. But then, so I can clean off this disease, right? Which would be in reference, I assume, to the fact, because you find this is for the soundtrack to the third game. Is that what it was?
I think so. Yeah, you said
something like that, or the HD remaster of the games or something. But
well, there weren't no HD remaster in 2010.
Well, no, of the first two on the PS3 though.
Oh, okay, sure.
I think that's what they did. But anyway, so I can clean off this disease could be referencing the fact that his family's ashes are on his skin. That's why he was like white.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's what that could reference. Then death will complete me. That's what he was trying to do. He was trying to off himself, and wasn't working. The gods kept keeping him alive to do all. He still had things he had to do. So that's really interesting. Take my evil to the skies, which is funny because then in the third game they go up to Mount Olympus, which is in the skies, and he has to defeat Zeus. all light dies. That's what happens at the end of the third game. He's literally killed all of the gods, so there's no one left. Earth is destroyed.
Yeah.
And that's why they have to go to a whole different realm, and then that's how the new games start. They're in a different realm. They can't go back to Earth because there's nothing left on Earth. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to, that's how I break down lyrics. Very surface level.
I had always wondered if there was a connection between the first three and then the newer two. I mean, it seems like obviously there would have to be because he's
there is.
Older.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't know that he went to a different realm because he blew Earth apart. Like I played God of War 3, but not since it came out.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, he did. And then also because they talk about that in God of War, the 2018 God of War, when they're in that room with the Greek vases in Tyr's temple or whatever, because he collected stuff from other realms.
Yeah.
You need to replay that game, it sounds like.
Seems like, maybe.
I mean, one of the greatest games of all time. So
it is really good. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely would recommend to replay that. But yeah, awesome stuff. We'll see what happens with the God of War TV show, which is supposed to be coming out, I think, later this year or next year.
And the freshly coming remaster of the first three games.
Yes. Oh, we'll see. I'm excited about that, but trepidatious because I love those games. I'm not one of those people that just trashes the original trilogy, plus Ascension, plus the two games for Chains of Olympus.
Sony Santa Monica, that I will sleep well with knowing that they've got
I'm not worried about
it. They're going to kill it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it, but very excited about that. Okay, Shattering the Skies. Oh, no, we did that one. Slave New World, a Sepultura cover. In 3, 2, 1. Let's see if it says what year this was done. Ooh. Yes. Why is the hi-hat way over there? God,
I really don't like that vocal style.
I think that's what Sepultura's vocals are like, though, but yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's cool. Yeah. That was a huge, massive hit in there.
Yeah.
Wow, Godsmack.
A little quiet on that solo.
Yeah.
That's it.
I could have done without that one, but that's okay. It was neat. Yeah. If that's the best, if that's like the best Sepultura song, and Matt Heafy grew up loving that song, and the guys are like, "Oh, let's do a cover of a Sepultura song," and that's the best that they had to offer for, this pretty straightforward and boring song in my opinion. However, I have no opinion on Sepultura. I would be interested in doing a Sepultura album for sure. Okay, so overall thoughts. I think that this album was crushingly, devastatingly heavier. Well, I don't know what that was. Heavier than Shogun. And I liked that aspect of it. I think that the heavier part of it appealed to me way more. And I thought his harsh vocals were better across the board. He is still doing multiple styles of harsh vocals, but it was way more contained, I feel like, this time on this album. And so I enjoyed that aspect of it. I think the clean vocals and vocals in general overall, like we've said multiple times throughout the album, but I think the clean vocals for me are kind of where it's not landing for me as well as I want it to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I think this is going to sound so mean, and I say this with the love in my heart, but as a person who has the exact same problem, I don't mean this in a horrible way, but to me, Matt Heafy has a background vocalist voice.
That's so true.
He does not have a lead vocal voice. And
That's a great way to put it.
To me, it's this. I have the same problem. I think I could do background vocals and harmony vocals and layers of vocals for days, and I have so much fun. But I haven't yet figured out, over 20 years of making music now, I haven't figured out how to sing so that it sounds good. Like with a lead, your voice has to have interesting character to it in order for it to be a great lead vocalist. And for people like me, and I feel like, and I apologize if everyone hates this, but like Matt Heafy's vocals to me don't, even his screams, they don't.
Especially his screams.
Well, his screams I think are better than his clean vocals, but I think his clean vocals are great. He's singing the right notes. But for some reason, to me, it's just not. I don't know if it's the fact that, like, maybe if we hear an album of theirs where the vocals are mixed at the proper volume, it just feels like he isn't. I hate that he layers his vocals like almost constantly with just doubles. I hate that. I hate that. And I think it sounded much better when he wasn't doing that on the 2 songs on the album that he didn't do that on. I thought it sounded way better, but his voice just doesn't have that like lead voice character to it to make it stand out and sound super interesting. And that's not, that's just a bummer, but I
agree. I think that I've been trying to figure out what it is this whole time about his voice I don't really like. And I think that's without being able to pinpoint it, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Like, there are a handful of instances in Metallica Live stuff where Jason does a thing. And it's some of my favorite stuff that he's ever done. But if he were to sing a whole song, I just don't think that would be the way. That doesn't seem like it would be what I want it to sound like or be.
And some people just don't have a voice that lends itself to that. And Trivium is a probably $1 billion band. I don't know, but Trivium is a huge international best-selling band. Like, they have charted albums. They know way more about all this stuff than we do, for sure. And so I could totally be wrong. And maybe there are people who Matt Heafy is like their favorite vocalist of all time. But I know I want to say all this too. Like, just the fact that he doesn't have the greatest voice in the world doesn't mean that he shouldn't be the singer of the band or anything. I think Trivium would maybe be better if it had a person who just was vocals, and then Matt did background vocals and harmony vocals and played guitar. But that just sounds such a crappy, demeaning thing to say, and I don't mean it that way. I really don't mean it in a super disrespecting way. It just, to me, the vocals are the weakest part of all this. And it's people say the same thing about Dave, right? And Megadeth, right? If Megadeth had a different singer, they could be, a lot of people who don't like them would really like them. And I think that with Megadeth, it's the same thing. I think the vocals are the weakest part of Megadeth. And but if you asked me right now, if I had to listen to Dave or Matt, I honestly don't know who I would pick, because there are Megadeth songs that I really enjoy a lot. And I think
he really finds a way to make it work for how awful he sounds. As a person.
I think you're right. He does. 100%. He does. And he's definitely doing something unique, and that's his own style.
Yes.
Whereas Matt, to me, is like kind of mimicking other vocalists, and he's not doing it as good as the guys he's kind of trying to sound like. And it just is a bummer. And I hope one of these albums, these Trivium albums I listen to, and I'm like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for him to do. This is what I want. I wanted him to be more confident. I wanted him to have it just doesn't sound like he's having fun singing ever. Does that make sense? Like, it sounds like it's work for him constantly. And I don't, there's a
saying that I apply to a lot of stuff, that the opposite of love is not hate, but indifference.
Right.
And conceptually, it's like something really good. The opposite of something really good is not something really bad. It's something like forgettable, hopelessly like mediocre, middle of the road. And this has that problem where it's like, if it was really bad, Dave Mustaine, it still sticks because it's still unique. And it's not technically bad. Like, obviously he knows he's hitting his notes, whatever, but his voice is just
we're just talking about the vocals,
unique.
Right? Like, you're not talking about the music or anything.
No, just the vocals.
Yes.
And Matt Heafy's not really good. It's just it's just such a forgettable kind of vocal tone. Because it sort of exists in the middle. And it sounds like other stuff. It's like, what you're just saying. Like, there's so much mimicry, intentional or otherwise, that it's like, well, the whole last album, he was just James Hetfield #2. And then this one, he hit that a couple of times, but then there's some stuff in there that's kind of like All That Remains or Unearthed or what you were saying.
Yes.
And it lacks a certain amount of its own character.
Mm-hmm. And I think I preferred it when he was doing more James Hetfield type stuff. Mm-hmm. I personally feel that way, but I would have liked to have more of that mixed in here, because that's kind of a way of doing more intense, harsh vocals that have a character to them that was missing from this. This was either like he was doing the like crazy guttural growl type thing, or he was doing the like kind of weenie sounding, clean vocals, and it should be said too, and I think that this is maybe unfair of me to judge it so harshly, but like, it should be said too that like the other bands that he is sort of sounding like are not bands that I'm a big fan of. So like, his style of clean vocals is not my favorite style of clean vocals.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about with metal. I feel like with metal and any style of music, but it's most apparent in metal, the vocals have to match the intensity of the music, or it doesn't work. It's too disparate. And you don't have to be screaming to match intensity. You can sing clean and still match the intensity of very intense music. It happens all the time. Yeah. But when you have a vocalist that just doesn't project the intensity and the confidence to go along with how badass the metal music side of it all is, there's a distance between those things that creates this like weird kind of like feels like it falls short. Yeah, like Lulu, but Lulu's different in itself. But I'm more thinking. Yeah, I mean,
it's Lulu's bad, but
Lulu's a bad example for literally.
It was mostly a joke, for sure.
Oh, for sure. But like, it's there. I can think of bands that do this though. That like the music is heavy and the vocals aren't. but I don't mean that I don't want that to be interpreted as all vocals have to be harsh vocals. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
And so,
not at all.
And even here on the album, I appreciate on this album, he was trying stuff. He was mixing the harsh and the lead vocals, and I liked that stuff. And he had good melodies. There were several songs that I thought were super catchy. I'm purely just kind of saying, like, his tone and the way he's approaching the vocals isn't as interesting to me as like any metal band that I already really love. And so vocally, there's nothing here that's like really like wowing me. And that's not a dig on Matt. You know, I relate so hard to wanting to make music and not having anybody else be willing to help. And so you just do it all yourself.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, and so Matt was probably like, I'm the best vocalist here at the time when the band was started. And then it started and it kept going and people liked it, as they should, because I don't think it's bad. And, you know, then he stayed the vocalist, which is fine. And maybe he's so much better now, and all this talk we're having means nothing, is nothing. But
it's 15 years ago. I'd like to hear something more current.
Literally before we started this reaction, Chris, I was looking on their Spotify page, and I was like, we could just do their album that came out, their most recent one, about the dragon one or whatever. We could just do that. And I was listening to a couple samples, and I was like, oh, this does sound really good, because I have a couple questions. One question for everybody. Okay, everybody watching this. Why did you overwhelmingly think that In Waves would be our favorite Trivium album?
Yeah.
Because to me, it's the heaviest of the two albums we've heard so far, and I personally like that.
I do like it better than the previous one. And I don't, as much as I remember the previous one, which isn't much, but this is like, there's some catchy elements to this.
Yes.
I mean, if he's going to, I don't know, the James Hetfield thing just kept hitting me so hard because of how incredibly, like, honestly good he is at mimicking Hetfield's style.
Yeah.
But it gets to that element where it's like, well, if I want to listen to James Hetfield, I'll go listen to Metallica instead.
Right.
But to replace it with this, it's like, this is more of actually just who he is, but I like it less in a different way. Like, it just is not, it's not my style.
Yeah.
I think it's not my style.
Right. Because you were kind of, it didn't even occur to me until the very end of the album that, like, you don't like death growly stuff, really.
Yeah.
And he was doing a lot of that. And there were like 2 or 3 songs on this album that had almost no clean vocals at all. And those I thought were pretty badass. The last one was a little boring. But like, to me, I really enjoyed Black, a Skyline, Severance.
Black was fun.
Built to Fail and Caustic Are the Ties That Bind. Those all were great songs.
Yeah.
And Black was really fun and catchy. Built to Fail was a great single. I'm glad it has more plays than some of the other songs, because that was the catchiest chorus I've heard them do. Now, along with thinking that we should do their most recent album, I was actually debating as well about having us react to Ascendancy, which is by everyone considered to be their best album. And in all those reviews that I was listening to, they were all mentioning their past and when they had their fretboards at the world's feet, or whatever dumb phrase they used. Like, what they're talking about is Ascendancy. And
2005.
Yes, and that's the one that had all those songs on all those compilation albums I was referencing last time, like Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr, and I forget what the other songs are on there, but like there was a bunch of like Light to the Flies, and then there was another one that was even bigger, I think, than those two. But those were all great songs that I remember at the time. I couldn't sing them for you. I don't remember what they sound like, but from what I remember, that album sounded awesome. And I think that if we do another Trivium album, that will be the one we're going to do next. We're going to go backwards, and we're going to listen to what everyone considers to be their sort of milestone album. Okay. And then if we want to continue from there and do even more, then I would say we do the most recent thing and just see how they are now. Because I think people, we talk about this sometime on the channel, people can't see past the nostalgia that they like for a band, and so like it's not fair of me to be like, which album do you think of theirs is the best produced, because that's the one I would like the most, because that's kind of unfair to ask of someone.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, whatever their best produced album is, I probably would like the most. And if it's Ascendancy, then it's Ascendancy. But I remember that album sounding really good at the time and everything. And so
imagine your best produced album being 20 years old. Like, that would be pretty upsetting, I think.
It should be upsetting, but I think a lot of bands, that's how it was. Because also you have to take into consideration that the music industry is completely different now. Like, if you're a metal band making an album now, you're probably doing it on your own, Well,
not only that, but like if you were big at the time and like you got, a bunch of money for hitting it huge with
you had the
singles
man
or whatever.
Pushing you. Yes.
Now you've got
none of
the
that.
finances to really produce it's like Chevelle. Like they are, have whatever their listener numbers are. We went back and listened to a couple clips from like This Type of Thinking and something else right around that time. And it's like, it sounds so good because they were on top of the world at that point.
Yep.
And now they are not.
And I think Trivium is the same thing. I think that they had they had the backing of their record label, which I think they're still on Roadrunner Records, but the record labels don't function the same way now as they did before, because there was such a backlash to how greedy they were. And now look at everybody wishing that record labels were still a thing because they'd actually be making money through their label and stuff. But it's so anyway, that's neither here nor there, but I do think Ascendancy would probably be the next thing for us to do if we wanted to continue with this. We want to move on to Avenged Sevenfold and see. And if you don't, and if Chris, if you're not feeling Trivium, I would be okay continuing them myself and just trying to find the best thing. But we can talk about that and make those decisions later, because there's so many other bands we could be doing too. But it just seems like Trivium is not really hitting with us that hard. But it's so weird. It is that thing that you're talking about where you say that it's worse to be mediocre than bad or really good, because I do feel like there's so much here that I would like, that I should like, that I do like, but it's not enough to make me like super excited to listen to it, So, and that's I feel bummed because I know a lot of people in our Discord, a lot of people that love Metallica, a lot of people love this band. And there were people in our Discord that were like, oh, we'll send this to Matt because he likes to watch reactions and stuff, and nobody ever does reactions to Trivium. And I'm like, don't send it to him because I don't want to be like, look like a because it's
I've been thinking about forever now doing like kind of what we do, adding to the channel in terms of like audio reviews for games, like something a little bit more in my own wheelhouse of being able to parse things. And it's like, what do I do when it's bad? Do I just throw it in the trash?
I know, record the video and then not release it. I've done it with stuff. I've done that with stuff
all the time.
We've recorded stuff and not done it, so not released it. So like, and it's a bummer. But the thing is, I feel like we have way even less to worry about than most channels would in that regard. Well, that's not true, because most channels, people just lie and say they like everything and they fake their reactions, which we do not do here. But also what we're talking about is more tangible than like, oh, I just didn't like it. We're saying this was overcompressed, that we didn't care for this. And I tried to explain just now over the last 10 minutes why I don't care for Matt singing as much, and it's not just a taste thing. Like, partly it is, and maybe even mostly it is a taste thing. But I tried to explain why, so it's
like that's how I feel about Coheed and Cambria. Like, I've tried so many times to listen to Coheed and Cambria, and I think their music is awesome. And I, for whatever reason, the main dude's voice, I just can't get past it. I've tried and tried, and I got nothing against them. I wish I liked them because they're great, but it's not working for me.
Yeah, and that's fine. You don't have to like everything just because other people do. Coheed, I do want to look into Coheed and Cambria. I have been having this somewhat. I'm slowly turning around to the idea of these crazy higher pitched vocals, and I sent you that thing the other day of that, like, whatever Angus McSix album or whatever just came out, and. If me 5 years ago, if you'd have showed me that, I would have puked in a bucket because of what it was.
Yeah, I can tell you're coming around, and it's very good.
Yeah, me listening to it now, I was like, this is awesome. Like this, and partly it's because it's so ridiculous. I mean, he's literally screaming metal, so it's stupid. Yeah. It's stupid in the right way. In the right way. But also, like, I've been listening to 3 Inches of Blood a little bit, which they're the ones that do the Deadly sinners, deadly sinners. Like, they are the most ridiculous vocals ever. But then the music is super serious. And so I'm slowly coming around to stuff like that. And so if I can learn to get into stuff like that more, then I feel like I've had hair metal in its entirety open up for me. Because there's so many bands that I just can't stand or wouldn't have been able to stand listening to. Like, Motley Crue. I don't know any of their stuff, or like Striper or any of that stuff. Guns N' Roses,
Ooh, that'll be work for you.
So like,
that will be work.
Right. Led Zeppelin, same thing. Because to me, Led Zeppelin, the dude from Led Zeppelin and the dude from Guns N' Roses are the same person. And
close, very close.
Yeah, I know, but people in the comments were really getting mad at me about that. Axl Rose doesn't sound anything like Robert Plant or whatever the guy's name is.
Yeah, Robert Plant.
I'm like, no, dude, it's like the same person. You are in total denial there.
They're definitely evoking a style, and
I'm not saying they're the same person,
in the same space,
but like, they're definitely yes. And so whatever. But anyway, so sorry, that's a tangent. But I maybe listening to Dave and Megadeth has made me realize that there are things worse. There's worse. Even though I don't hate Dave, I don't hate Dave's vocals.
He's so complicated. To like.
Like I said, I just listened to Rest in Peace, and the reaction just came out this morning, and there was like 5 songs in a row in the middle of that album that I was just like vibing with so hard. I was like, this is so flippin' awesome. Every song is totally different on that album. It has a totally different feel. And then it got to that song that was their big song, Tornado of Souls or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the most boring song I have ever heard in my life. It's so boring and terrible. And then I went and looked, and it has like 360 million plays because it was on Rock Band or some crap.
Oh, sure.
Which that whole album I think was on Rock Band or Guitar Hero or whatever, but I couldn't believe it. And then the second to last track is the most god-awful dog crap thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It's terrible. And then the last track is super boring as well. So like that album only has 9 songs on it. The first 6 are awesome. They're all really great. The first 2 are kind of mediocre in my opinion, but then after that, everything's great. And I loved it. I loved them. And then the final 3 tracks were just... And I was like, wow, it sucked the energy out of me in enjoying that. And I was getting ready to be like, dude, I think I just fell in love with Megadeth. Like, I love this. Like, so much better than Metallica. And then those final 3 songs just
that should be like the thumbnail. It's like, did I just fall in love with Megadeth? Never mind.
Yeah, that's honestly how the whole video went, though. It was an interesting experience, and so people are now like, oh gosh, what album should? Because I was like, if this is considered their best that they have, like their magnum opus, like the best thing they've got, should I even bother listening to more? Because it was disappointing to me at the end of the day. But everyone's like, no, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. So I was like, okay,
The System Has Failed is a better album.
Well, I think that people keep saying Dystopia is a good modern one, which is one of the ones with Dirk Verburen. But also people want me to listen to the one with Symphony of Destruction on it.
All right.
Which is their next one after that. They said that's when they tried to go more poppy, and that was their like black album. So they're like, oh, you probably like that one. So I was like, okay, tell me what their least best album, what their worst album is, and that'll probably be my favorite. That's kind of how stuff goes sometimes.
Works a lot, yeah.
But yeah.
Depends. It always depends on why it's the worst.
Yeah, right.
It's like 9 times out of 10, it's like, oh, it's the one everybody likes. Well, there's a reason for that.
Right, exactly. If your worst album is Lulu, there's a reason for that, and it's a damn good reason. So, that's if people say Black Album is Metallica's worst album, those people are just idiots. So.
Correct.
But okay. All right. Sorry, all Trivium fans. Hopefully you're not
several people are typing
too mad at us, but that's all right. Let us know what we should do. And if you enjoy, if everyone's like, yes, do Ascendancy, and they're all screaming in the comments, do Ascendancy, we'll do Ascendancy next for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think, Chris, you should be with me for that one. And then after that, if you're like, Trivium's not connecting with me, then you can forget it. And maybe I could move on, do some stuff myself. But
okay. We've got Melanie Martinez next week.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much. Let us know what we did wrong. Let us know what we should do next, and we will see you all next time. Now, while you were gone, I was looking up some reviews of this on Wikipedia, And some of them are just so stupid. People who write things are so dumb. Listen to this. It says Trivium will probably be vilified once again for taking the same sort of creative backstep that the fans typically clamor for from Metallica, Slayer, and other bands on down. It's the essence of the Florida bands can't win.
What?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
What?
And then this one says, this may not be quite enough for Trivium to turn back the hands of the clock to the point where the world lay at their fretboards, but the notion that this is a band whose best days lie behind them is one that, at least for now, is resting on ice.
So they liked it.
There are so many better ways to say what that was just...
I know.
But then listen to this one. Jamie Thompson from The Guardian, in his review, said, In Waves is as overproduced and mercilessly polished as modern metal gets, and it's all the worse for it.
And it's what? I missed the last part.
And it's all the worse for it.
What?
As overproduced and mercilessly polished as modern metal gets.
You know, I recently learned that there is a sect of people. There's a whole group of people that think that the only way to hear music is as terrible as possible. They cannot stand the idea of hearing a song and just having it sound good.
I know.
I had an argument with somebody about this. We were talking, and he was like, I played him that Ruin Brothers stuff, and he was like, no, this is no good. I was like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. I know. It's so frustrating because...
And he played me some Mountain Goats and then a Death Cab for Cutie demo. A demo, my man. And he was like, this is how music should sound. And I called the fucking police because...
As you should have. Those are the kind of people who are probably the reason that a lot of the albums that we love that sound bad are the reason they sound that bad, because they refuse to let things sound good. And it's just like, come on. Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones that send the emails.
Right.
Please make this sound bad. Sincerely.
Yeah. Yes, please. Why is there any high end in this mix? Get rid of it. Slap the high end off of this baby. Now, to be fair, for everyone watching, if I even leave any of this in, the idea that something sounds intentionally bad can be really cool. We talk about it all the time, and it's good when your production has when the production of the album or the song adds to the overall, like, if there's a reason for the production to have character. That's what we talk about. When the production has a character of its own. Sometimes it can really take something that would otherwise be boring and make it super, super interesting and exciting and fun to listen to. But because something sounds nice and good and clear, it doesn't mean that it sounds bad.
That's right.
Silly.
That's never a bad thing for it to be.
No. Okay,